really silly. So yeah, they somebody somebody at the company just kind of whistle blew about how screwed up the things are. And just like my problem with Steve Jobs, I guess we found out that Zuckerberg is the same way. He would never let his kids use Facebook or Instagram because it's poison. It's like it destroys young women's like self-esteem and their body image and everything, and yeah, just numbs young guys to just trolling DMs for for hookups. So it's yeah, and they all know it. So that should be a thing. Like there should be this like new rule of capitalism that they have to include. So whatever shit you're selling, whatever your company, whatever your fortune is based on, whatever your corporation does, you have to be a user and a fan of it. Just like, politicians needing to live or have some sort of address in the area that they represent, or professional athletes having to have some sort of connection to the city that they're playing for. There should be a requirement that you at least don't think that what you're producing, what you're selling to people is complete poison and garbage and yeah, just destroying destroying people's lives. So I think of like in terms of like fast food and things like, so didn't one of the guys from Ben and Jerry's die from some from some, he loved ice cream and basically ate too much ice cream and died of a heart attack or whatever. And the same thing with the I can't think of his name now, the owner of Wendy's, the founder of Wendy's, whose daughter is on the sign, who's the mascot for the restaurant. But he died because he loved hamburgers. I mean, you should have to use the thing that you make, and if you don't, then you should not be allowed to profit from it, because all that means is you've created some sort of heroin or some sort of crack, and you're just peddling it to people you're victimizing. Yeah, you should have customers, not victims, I guess. But yeah, that was really really depressing, and there's just way too much of that, especially in technology. In the technology companies, there's way too many people that know what they're making is just garbage and not necessary. It just destroys people's mental health and everything else, and they just enjoy. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, Joe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, very suspicious of Facebook is, oh, suddenly unavailable. We gotta start burning everything. We gotta delete that code that everybody is suspecting exists. Yeah, I still remember, like more than 10 years ago, trying to explain to my cousin, like, so why, Facebook seems so innocent. It's just connecting, family and, former classmates and former neighbors. People can find each other and interact online. It's like, no, it's not about that at all. That's the I don't know, the gloss or the veneer in front of this, like, just data collection nightmare. And at first, you couldn't really see how or why they would want to be doing that. It just seemed completely innocent. But quickly, everybody realized, oh, wait, now there's advertising. Oh, wait, now it's deciding what it shows me. And yeah. And that's what was the other thing? Somebody was just, it was a guy that does a promotion for musicians. Like helps with marketing and promotion for online musicians, and he said, yeah, the Facebook just became a joke because they make you, or they have you collect this group of people and build this following on Facebook, and then they block it off, they gate it off, and ask you to pay them money to give you access to people you've already attracted to your brand or your page or your account or whatever. So they control like who sees what, in this way that then they can say, well, if you'd like to reach more people, you can pay us for these ads, for these Facebook ads. But no, I already have those people. It would be like, if running a YouTube channel or like, doing streaming, if only 10 people got a notification, you had like, 1,000 people subscribed or following you, and you only notified 10 people at a time. And if you want to do 10 more, then that's going to be 50 cents. And yeah, it's really, really ridiculous that they did that and thought that no one would ever, no one would ever notice or complain or whatever. That, yeah, you took advantage of my self-promotion, like what I was doing to promote my business or, whatever thing you're doing online, and then you're going to try to sell it back to me. Yeah, very weird. Yeah, but that's funny. Just like it just went off. Hey Chris, how's it going? Nice. Yeah, so it's wonderful. I think that really needs to be a rule, is whatever you make or sell, if you wouldn't ever go near it, then there's something seriously wrong with what you're doing. Yeah, so even more. Oh, what's going on here? Even more of that. Yeah, so this is going to be a really weird week artistically, because my tablet's all screwed up. To figure out, I think it's probably just a driver thing. I had a really hard crash, and just to restart, I was getting that beeping on startup. There was some driver conflict or something, so I just yanked everything out. And when I reattach the tablet, it doesn't capture the correct monitor, or it doesn't have me controlling the correct monitor. So, because you plug in for this tablet, you plug in an HDMI and a USB, and the USB is all your control, and the HDMI, of course, is just the display. And those two things are not matching right now. So I'm going a little old school with the tablet here. Yeah, it was really weird. I don't know what exactly that was. It was definitely related to the streaming I was watching, whatever the app or whatever the technology is. It just crashed. So maybe there was like an internet hiccup or whatever, and my PC just wanted nothing to do with it. But I have been watching for Halloween. The Criterion Channel is doing a bunch of the old Universal monster movies. So I've just been like going down the little playlist, the collection of those. And do you know, most of those movies are only about 60 minutes long. So they're like barely an hour, or they're like an hour maybe in like a couple of minutes. And it wasn't until like the 50s that the movie started to get about 70 minutes or more. But all the original classic, like Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, the werewolf, and all the Wolfman, and all those Invisible Man, those are hour-long movies. That's so bizarre. So you can just like watch, like, in the time it takes to watch a Marvel movie or whatever, you can watch 3 classic Universal monster movies. But I really like The Mummy. It'd been so long since I had seen that. That's a really good setup. I mean, and just thinking about them in terms of like what would make a cool like one-shot RPG session or something. The Mummy is really good, and also they have a bunch of the Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff kind of team-ups. So they did a bunch of movies based on, kind of loosely based on, I think they say suggested by, like an idea suggested by Edgar Allan Poe. So things that are kind of loosely based on Poe's The Raven, or one was called The Black Cat, and I don't know what it was, what story that was based on. If there is a Black Cat Poe story? But the tension between those two actors is great, because you can tell, and we knew that from the Ed Wood movie, the Tim Burton Ed Wood movie, that Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff hated each other. and they're always pitted against each other in those movies, or kind of antagonistic to each other. But those movies are great, and the Black Cat is a really good. That would be an excellent setting for a an RPG one shot. I don't know what kind of system you would do, but it would work really well as like coming into the situation you know nothing about, and it's slowly like unraveling like what's going on in this castle between these two crazy people. It's always two doctors. Somebody's always a genius physician in those stories. But yeah, those are really good. They of course it's very theatrical. You know, the sets are really flat, and the performances are like a stage play. But yeah, those are really fun to watch. Yeah. Creature from the Black Lagoon is that's on there, but that's not until the 50s, I think, late 40s, maybe 50s. So the 30s and early 40s stuff has a real different tone. It's like you can tell they just came out of silent film era, and there's so much more like like weird facial acting, and these weird shots. Just like with the Mummy, they have that weird. You've probably seen it. It's like I think that it's like the poster, like a promotion for that movie very often, but it's just that Boris Karloff face where he's like wearing the fez and just has the deeply lined face, and his eyes are glowing like he's looking under his brows, and his eyes are kind of glowing. They kept cutting to that picture when he's like using his powers. And so yeah, it was very very kind of silent film in that way, just no intertitles. But Creature from the Black Lagoon is on there, and so not they have the original. I don't know the history of this, but they have the original Dracula, but it's the Spanish language version. So I have to look up why it's in Spanish. So maybe that was like one of the original. There may be something like film history unique about that, but that's the earliest film is Dracula, but it's a Spanish language version. But the thing and the Universal films are very odd. They're not, because we keep seeing those famous scenes, like the Dr. Frankenstein saying it's alive, or the Bride of Frankenstein, like freaking out when she sees she sees who her intended mate is, or just there's become very iconic shots from those films. But the films as a whole are almost more like Bollywood. Like I think Hollywood was really close to doing that same thing that India, the kind of Bollywood film industry, ended up doing, is not having a movie that was a specific genre, is having it all mashed up, because and maybe that's because of the kind of pulp inspiration or whatever from some of those monster movies, but they're a romance, a comedy, a horror movie, kind of all mashed up. Like there's funny stuff, and then there's super romantic, kind of heartbreaking stuff, and then there's just horror. There's just like terror and horrible characters and situations. So it's really odd. Like I noticed that with The Invisible Man and then The Bride of Frankenstein, they have really huge comedy like elements to them, which is odd because you think that would just kind of completely undermine any horror aspects to it. But so it was really fun to watch those again, because I'd seen them as a kid, like on and off. They're always like Saturday afternoons. We'd always have the local UHF channel always switches over to monster movies. So in the 70s and 80s, monster movies meant Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, or Godzilla, or Japanese monster movies. So those were kind of the two definitions of monster movies. And then it would go from the straightforward horror movies to Abbott and Costello meet meet Frankenstein or whatever, the comedy versions of those. So that's really weird that it became that there was just so much comedy in those movies. And maybe just to not, because the other examples of like the more like especially silent films and the German expressionist films and stuff like the original Nosferatu and the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. What is it? Caligari, whatever. All of those old German films, those were scary. Those were like legitimately scary and disturbing. And these weren't. Like, they have, some scenes that are a little bit disturbing, but they're really also balanced with a weird romance. There's always a romance, always some couple trying to, or some like very unhealthy relationship, like an old genius doctor obsessed with a young woman. So always heavy romance plots and comedy, which I didn't remember how weirdly mixed up that was. But very fun to watch for the Halloween season. But yeah. So if you get a chance to see any of those, and I'm sure some of them are probably, well, I don't know how good Universal is at taking those offline, but if any of those are floating around YouTube or anything, they're probably worth seeing again. The sets though are really amazing. Like, you can tell there's some money in them. There's some pretty great special effects and some really good set pieces. Like always the doctor's castle or the mansion or whatever is a really amazing set. So must have been pretty immersive for the actors to perform in some of those. Yeah, some of those things are just crazy. But yeah, so that was a funny thing that Criterion did, is do a bunch of Universal monster movies. They always have some horror movies on that streaming service, which is cool. So I wonder, Hulu sometimes does stuff, so I wonder like what else there's going to be online. But yeah, Universal monster movies. It's so funny that they were trying to make a cinematic universe of that stuff and do it totally seriously, like that Tom Cruise Mummy movie. Whew, yeah, that was just like totally serious. I mean, it was a little bit, action adventure, but very straightforward as far as the drama and the horror of it. And yeah, I don't know. We would have had some really weird stuff come out of that, and like the Johnny Depp Invisible Man, because in the Invisible Man, so the the idea in that story is that so the scientist discovers the thing that makes him invisible, but it also makes you insane. So he's slowly like mentally degrading, and as he's like attacking people and harassing people and escaping from and murdering people, he's laughing and dancing around, and he'll put on a pair of pants and run down the street and scare old women because he's invisible. It's just like an animated pair of pants. So that has a lot of like weird humor in it, and it's the actor, he was in a couple. It was funny. There's a lot of recurring Universal actors in all of those movies. Ray Milland, who was the in Casablanca, he was the police chief or whatever that was keeping Rick in Casablanca. It's that actor. It's that British guy. So he was the Invisible Man, and then he was also in the Wolfman. He was he played the father. It's not Ray Milland. I can't remember, but it's he plays the father in the Wolfman as well. And Lon Chaney in the Wolfman. I forgot about that. I always thought that was an interesting part, or he fit, but he is a big goof. Like Lon Chaney is a really giant, big, massive headed, goofy guy. So to be taking him like totally seriously in that role is kind of hard, because nobody is like the weird size of him, and he's like has this romantic storyline that he's trying to pursue, and you're just like, what? I'm not really believing any of this. And so the actor that plays his father is a little tiny guy. So he's got this giant block-headed son, and he doesn't. he doesn't, because it comes from this like insanely rich family, but he's the younger son, and I think the older son died, and so he comes back home not having any success in his life, and he's supposed to, have the character is like, well, I'm not really intellectual. I'm much better, like mechanically with my hands and everything. That's how I've always made a living. But he talks like really. He sounds really dim-witted. So it's weird. It's almost a of mice and men kind of feeling with that character. And the original Wolfman, there's no transformation scene. There's the first time he transforms, they show his feet, and then the end. I won't spoil 100-year-old movie, but at the end, he detransitions. So you see it kind of go backwards, when they just dissolve those stages on top of each other. He de-transforms or whatever. But I thought for sure, maybe that's like a later, maybe like Lon Chaney Jr. or whatever, maybe one of the later Wolfman movies has the that famous transformation scene where it's just, dissolves. But there wasn't one in this movie, so that was very odd. But yeah, enough monster monster movie talk. Yeah, but those are just interesting. There's a lot of stuff that and watching it too in like HD, like it doesn't look like you remember it looking, so it's like experiencing the film again because you're seeing it in much greater detail, like the detail that is closer to how you would see it in a theater. So that makes it very interesting to see old films again. They look very different. You can see all the makeup on everybody and all the strings and everything on the special effects because they couldn't digitally remove them back then. They just had to try to shoot them so that they the angle of the light wouldn't make them too visible. Oh man. Oh no way. Oh, that's so funny. A Rob Zombie Addams Family. Wow. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Or I mean, I like the old Charles Addams cartoons. I thought those were really fun. Um, but yeah, and then the old TV show, the old like '60s TV show. Yeah, you could do a really weird take on that because it's the, kind of like the Munsters or whatever too. It's like, you know, ugly and dead is wonderful and nice and pretty and human is depressing and ugly. So that weird reverse thing could be really fun. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, there doesn't. I think Illuminations, the Minions studio, the Despicable Me guys, are doing, or they have done a few Addams Family animated films, and they're just odd. They're just they look more like the original cartoons, the characters, but the content and stuff is just that typical, like, yeah, kids garbage scripts that they just kind of pull out of there. It's almost like improvised. Like maybe they do that. Maybe they just have actors kind of improvise on some basic ideas for some scenes, and then just have people animate to it. Because the plots don't seem all that well crafted. But yeah, I remember seeing that showed up on like Hulu or something. But yeah, Rob Zombie, that's funny. Yeah, I didn't like. He did Halloween, right? He did a remake. I mean, that was one of those movies that does not need to be remade. The original John Carpenter Halloween is like almost a perfect horror movie. The first one, oh, what's this? Where's this coming from? Yeah, that first one is just perfect, and it was just like slasher movies were already a thing. Like the first Friday the 13th had already come out, so they were just trying to make money on that genre, and they ended up making like a perfect, one of those perfect horror movies. So you don't want too much backstory, Michael Myers backstory. I don't think that helps. That doesn't help the scariness. I think the less you know, the more unknown, the more fun it is. The more unstoppable they feel. Okay, I don't know what this is. A case of something. Let me see if I can flip this around and see how it looks. Yeah, actually not that bad. Yeah, maybe something like this will work a little bit better. Yeah, so good to see. Good to see everyone online. Hope it's going well. I was watching, there was my YouTube recommended the NFL channel, like the highlights, which is this whole row of like week 4 NFL highlights came up. And that's a really good way. That's so cool. They can take a game, like make it, take a NFL game and just summarize it in 12 minutes and just do every key play, every major play in the game. But my my wife was shocked. My wife and daughter were shocked. I was watching it during breakfast, and they were shocked by the lack of masks in the audience, in the crowd. So the stands of I was explaining these are outdoor, these are open air outdoor stadiums for the most part, and she was really freaked out. Nobody's wearing masks, and the stands were completely full. So people are like really happy to be back to public events. And I don't even know, I only flipped through a couple because I just wanted to see how what the presentation was like. And so I don't know if there's it's based on state or city. Like there's some cities that everyone's masked and the crowd's reduced, and some where they're not, or if the NFL is just more powerful than any local government and just said, yeah, we're not doing this anymore, we want to make money. Yeah, so that was funny to see. And my Japanese family's reaction was very funny too. They're like, oh my god, are they insane? Okay, something like that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to try to do what I can cartoon-wise this week because it's not going well. Let's see, and this one. Oof, yeah. It's very hard to control. Oh, K5, yeah, that's right. You got to get up at 6:30. Well, thanks for dropping in. Oh, yeah, you might be right about that, Chris. Yeah, I never saw anything about that. That could be true. So instead of doing, to make it more maybe monotone or less, more contrasty or whatever. I never saw that, or I never heard about that. But that makes sense for black and white television, depending on how they shot it, what they shot it with. Because didn't because there was a couple of different weird technologies for 50s and 60s TV. I Love Lucy was a different technology from a lot of other stuff. So yeah, that could be possible. Yeah, I didn't get to see much Addams Family on television. Occasionally, I remember seeing my grandparents or whatever. So whenever you go somewhere with different UHF channels or whatever, they would have different programming. But it was always the Munsters. It was always when after school cartoons ended, the Munsters came on. It was either Munsters or Sanford and Son that I knew. Cartoons are over. It's time to go do homework or whatever. But yeah, those were the days. That's crazy. After school cartoons. Yeah, have a good night, K5. Good to see you around. Yeah. Oh, we got to talk about too, because it's already October. I want to talk about doing the the tasting, I think the vibe I'm getting is if I put together a box, I shouldn't put any seafood. I shouldn't put any squid or anything in it. So maybe I'll come up with like a greatest hits of like the Japanese bar snacks and sweets and stuff. And so it'll be something pleasurable instead of a gauntlet of not trying not to get sick. Eating stuff. So different from what I said, Hyphonics. Something a little bit more palatable so we can actually enjoy that stuff. Yeah, because the temptation is to send fish sausages and and squid snacks, but I don't think anybody's going to enjoy that. Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. Yeah, but I want to talk about that. Maybe I'll put some kind of Google lets you do surveys and stuff, so maybe I'll try to put something. I'll give you guys a link, and so I can get some feedback about how many people are actually interested in doing it, and then like what kinds of things would work well. Because then I can get like cases of stuff and break it up if there's enough people interested.